I decided to record this, Jeanette, because you're saying good stuff that others might want to hear.
Okay. So on a Thursday, everything is done on Zoom because we're so spread out.
Yeah.
And so, yes, every Thursday they have a general conference talk discussion. And then on a Friday, they often have an activity. They might have a games night or something like that. And then on a Sunday, they do Come Follow Me and Sunday afternoon. And then Sunday evening, we've started doing this emotional resilience course.
That's so cool. So what does the app do that would be different than like the messenger? Or
So we just all connect we all connect on WhatsApp. But
oh,
they have leaders in every country, I think. And then they also have an activities committee. And the WhatsApp group, it's not a chat group, it's one where information is posted, but people can't respond to it. You can put your thumbs up and things like that,
nice.
but you don't, it's not like a chat group. It's just literally for sharing information.
Okay, and it's called
Um,
an app called Gathered In, for those of you
yeah,
who
gathered in. And it says the purpose of this group is to gather and strengthen single adults in Europe by studying the gospel of Jesus Christ
in
and,
Europe.
and ministering to each other to become a united force for good. And
So
then it has the list of just, who it's for, age range, divorces must be final, etc. And so that's what helps keep us together. And doing this, I keep saying it's emotional resilience course, and it is, but it's the title of the course is Finding Strength in the Lord, Emotional Resilience. And so that's what we're studying together.
that's so good.
Yeah.
We actually, that is a program that's in the church that I used to go to my local church, and I did that with a group of people in my area, my state.
Yes, I would like to do it that way, but this is the only way we've been able to do it, which is great because we're making friendships throughout Europe as well.
Yes.
Mm.
Emotional resilience. That's so cool. So, Abby, welcome. We were just talking about some ways that people connect and how powerful it is to have. That's what this whole chapter is about, is just connecting with like-minded people and how that really helps us and supports us in our goals. And that's what Jeanette was saying, is it really helps her to be able to connect with people in Europe. And that's the Gathered In. It's an app. It's an app for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I don't know if you need to be a member of the church. I imagine maybe because I don't because there are conversations and stuff that might be.
Mm.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe it's
It's
okay.
not an app. It's not an
Oh,
app. It's a
oh,
group. It's
oh,
a
okay.
group, a WhatsApp group,
What's
and
okay.
they have. I think they must have a church Zoom um, account or something because we
Well,
meet on Zoom.
yeah,
Yeah. So
that's
it's at least 3 times a week that we meet up.
I love that idea. I think that's really good. Maybe we should do that,
Mm.
something like that here. We kind of do that here, and I kind of have been doing that in my Thriving Singles community. I was doing interviews each week, and I just have different ideas for people that come to me and say they have different ideas about, they want to share a certain part of their story, or something, something that they're, a course or something they're teaching, and in a personal development topic. So we have been doing that on Tuesdays, but I've fallen out with all the other stuff that's coming into my life. That's something that has kind of gone to the side. But I think that would be great. And if you have other people helping in the group, it sounds like there are different leaders in different countries, you said, that would
Mm.
help. That sounds awesome. Very good. So, is there anything that stood out to you, Abby, in the first few pages? We've made it through. Let's see. I just talked. Let's see. What did I quote from? Page 118. It's just the first section, right before imitating the many. Um, oh, and one other thing that is really good in that section says, one of the most effective things you can do to build better habits is to join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. New habits
Yes.
seem achievable when you see others doing them every day.
Yes.
And I would leave that every day because you might not see them doing it every day, but seeing them do it, seeing others doing it is and that's what you're talking about in your group. It's really helpful. Another thing that Jeanette brought up was the when we changed to doing meeting every like once a month in this book club, it kind of threw her off because she was saying she wasn't as motivated. She didn't have to read. She didn't feel like she had to read each week. And so that's part of accountability too, is and that is a really good example of how we do that. I did exactly the same thing. I waited for the 3 weeks and then I read all 3 chapters. That's what I did. So that's how we work. If you have deadlines, I work with deadlines really well. So anyway, and working with others is the motivation for that.
I'm not so sure that it's really well, because for me, I'm the same as you. But when I used to do my assignments, I used to do them at the last minute because that motivated me. But then I would be up all night doing them.
Yes, exactly.
And yet on my course, there were people who would do half an hour every day of their
Yes,
assignment.
that's so much better. And then there's people
Yes.
in the course that I take. I take a course for all of our assignments are given in each week from, let's see, we're assigned on Saturday and then they're due the following Saturday. So this is it's online BYU study for my bachelor's degree. So they have from Saturday to Saturday have all these courses during the week. There's things, meetups and assignments and such. And there are people who get everything done on Monday or Tuesday, and then they have the whole week to do like.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I just barely, I've been doing this for 2 years. I have one more semester left and I finally figured it out. I've been doing that, putting it off. And then just recently, I have been with a group of people in my statistics class, and they do their full week assignment for do the whole week. They do it the prior week, like they do on Thursday. It doesn't even open until Saturday, but they do it on Thursday. And then Saturday comes, they're giving the assignment. I mean, we still know what they are, but they just do it. Go ahead. And then when we meet on Monday, we have a little group discussion and we talk about the whole week's assignments. And I'm like, this feels so good to have it done. And there's so many different ways when you do it with the groups of people and you have that kind of motivation, it just definitely keeps you in line with getting for your habits. That's another witness of how that works. Okay. Is there anything, you know what, this is such a short chapter, we might just be so short.
I was just looking at the first page
Yeah.
where it talks about Laszlo, and he said he claimed that. So Laszlo was a firm believer in hard work. In fact, it was all he believed in. He completely rejected the idea of innate talent. He claimed that with deliberate practice and the development of good habits, a child could become a genius in any field. His mantra was, a genius is not born, but is educated and trained.
Yes. Yeah. That is so good. What do you guys think about that? Because I have two trains of
Me
thought.
too.
Abby, did you want to, oh, you're muted still.
I think there's something to be said for that, for sure. I've definitely experienced that in my own life where I, as being a child and kind of like a perfectionist, things that I wasn't just suddenly good at, I would avoid. And then over time realizing, oh, I could actually learn something if I wanted to. You
Yeah.
just do it and then you keep doing it. And you get, that idea of practice and and I've seen that with my son who does piano, and it's kind of reminded me of when he was talking about chess. Like my son and his cousins, they all do homeschool together and they all practice piano, and they've all been doing piano now for 4 or 5 years since he was like 6 years old, and now he's 11. So
Wow.
and he's done it every day now. So it's very much a habit, and he sees his cousins do it and everyone else is doing it. It's like this is our own little, it's kind of like our own little experiment at home too, kind of
Yeah.
like what you were saying with the Polgar sisters. I was thinking about, I'm like, yeah, it's normal. We all do piano. Like we all practice. Just and they don't even complain or
Okay.
even, they might struggle with something, but it's just very much a habit now for them to just
Awesome.
go do their practice. If like the first year it was like tears and I can't do this.
Yeah.
And then now I'm like, you know, it's like that with anything. And I think we kind of we're afraid of something, or I'm not good at that. You know, that whole identity part as
Mhm.
well is a huge thing. I'm not good at that. So then we're not going to try.
Yeah.
But, you know, so I love how you know, because he talks about identity later. And then I think when that identity is very much part of your culture, like, oh, we practice piano, or we learn how to do this, or, you know,
Mhm.
we all know how to, you know, you grew up in a family where your parents have both gone to college, and it's like, yeah, you don't even question it. You're like, I do this,
Yeah.
you know? So I think there's definitely something to be said for the culture and your close connections and what you see every day, what's normal to you. So,
It is so good. I'm so glad you shared that. I have so I like his belief that you have to work hard, that
mhm.
you have that perspective that you have to work hard and you can develop any expertise. That I also believe that anything you set your mind to doing, you can do it. And it might just be more challenging for some things. It would be more challenging for me to learn how to be an engineer than maybe an artist or that there's just certain
Right.
I also believe that we have I tell my daughter she was born an artist. She has those in her genes.
Please depress the brake pedal to release the parking brake.
She is an amazing artist. I love the artwork that she does. And I always tell her because she thinks that everyone should be as good as she is because she thinks it's so natural to her. She just
Yes.
thinks, why can't they do it as good as me? You know, but she's young and she's learning. But anyway, that's the point that I
Well,
always tell
there's something to be said for your interests and maybe what you're drawn towards as well. And it's like sometimes you find that sweet spot of like, I'm really interested in this, but I'm not very good, but I can do it. Like you can get better. Or there's, you know, you have a talent. Are you going to increase that talent? You know, I do think there is something to
Mhm.
be said for maybe some natural gifts or talents towards different areas. But if any, I do believe if someone really wanted to learn something they're interested in, they could do it.
Mm.
You know, like and I tend to think of everything as a skill. Like I mean I get a little bit nervous and like of maybe okay, it's going to be hard to learn this, but even, you know, everything is a skill. So I'm like, okay, if everything's a skill, then even, you know, public speaking, it's a skill. It terrifies me. I don't want to do it, but it's a skill.
Yep.
And so if, you know, everything is a skill, then you,
You can
you
learn
know,
it.
if there's that interest, I think it's possible.
Yeah,
So,
instead of I can't do it, yes, if you're interested. So yes, Antonio, you are welcome to share. You and I sometimes will put an instinct, put you on mute. There was some background confusion, I mean distraction, so I put you on mute for a second. So there you go.
Oh, that's fine. I thought I had myself on mute, so that's okay.
Okay, I
It was,
could.
it was just the car talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that part, and it's so true, Abby, because there's a speaker that I listen to a lot. His name is Tom Bu. If anyone is familiar with Quest Nutrition, he is actually one of the founders of Quest Nutrition, and listening to his life story is absolutely amazing because he talks about where he was kind of lazy and he didn't really want to do much, and he cheated his way through high school, and then he got into USC by cheating. And then when he got to USC, he was like, wait a second, if I really want to do something here, I have to start studying. Because he was already in the school and he already had these huge debts.
wow.
And so he turned things around, and then he started doing business and things. And it's like he just talks about with this 10 years of just really changing his life and changing his thinking of the skills.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. And so now, he's this billionaire that, and he's always, now his life is always about what is the new skill that I can build? What is the new skill that I can find to improve, to do this, to do that? And now, he's sold Quest Nutrition, and now he has Impact Theory. And it's a crazy when you look at what he's doing and what he's done and what he's accomplished. and I think the guy can't be more than 40.
Yeah, he's young. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he's quite young. And then what his wife is doing as well, it's just incredible when you decide, okay, I'm just going to focus on building skills.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm terrible at that. So I think I relate personally more to what you were saying before, the kind of avoiding things at times and putting it off to the last minute. I'm working on overcoming that.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
But I understand the ideas behind those,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
Well, I like that Abby pointed out, it comes down to the desire. If you have the desire, you have the ability. That's what I think too. You just apply yourself. I have the desire to be an attorney or a judge. I don't know about a judge, but maybe an attorney. I might like to be a judge. I mean, tell them to get their body out of the courtroom. But I don't know. But I don't have the desire to do what it takes to get there. That's the problem. That's my problem. I don't have any desire to take too many math classes. So let's take Ed.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, I would love to be a psychologist, but I'm not going to spend the next, whatever years. It's like, I think I can use the knowledge that I have gained.
How strong
and
is
do
your
what
desire?
I want to.
Yes, you have to decide.
0.
You said, how strong is your desire to have this identity, right? Jeanette, do you have a question or comment?
Yeah, I don't know what I did then. I'm just going to lower my hand. I'm like you. I have two trains of thought with regards to that statement, because some people are born with gifts. You see these prodigies, the people who become these are incredible pianists, and the child, I've heard of children just sitting at the piano and they could just play.
Yeah.
Yet, would they be a prodigy throughout their life if they never had access to a piano?
Right.
I mean, they wouldn't know. And so it links in with Antonio saying about developing different gifts and exposing ourselves to different things, because we actually don't know when we have more of a natural talent in some areas than others.
I love that's why I love homeschool. Abby, you're doing homeschool. I don't know if I cut you off, Jeanette, but that's what you're saying is right. I love that. It's in my heart too.
And I think of school, I worked in education for a long time, and my role was in the afternoons, I was to take the children out of class, their afternoon lessons, to practice their English and maths if they weren't good at English and maths. And I really silently objected to it, because if I took a child out of PE and that was their area of passion and enjoyment, how would they develop? If I took them out of science and they were natural scientists, and that was something that they could really thrive and do well in, how is that helping them? So I used to actually find out, it was a long-winded way of doing my job, but I didn't care. I used to find out what their favorite lessons were, and then I would make sure that I didn't take them out of those lessons, because I wanted to give them the opportunity, and so that can be really difficult when you're being schooled if you go to regular school, because their focus is English and maths and everything else is just an add-on, whereas actually you have children that excel in other areas. And I used to say to them, if you're struggling with English and maths, do your best. Remember, this is the thing that you're going to do the best in, Yeah.
We can help our kids to create this identity like we're doing in this book ourselves. Who do you want to become? Describe the human being that you want to be someday. What are some of we say, what do you want to be when you grow up? We ask them that and they think of a career. And then you ask them, what is it about that career that you love? And what are some of the habits that kind of a person would possess?
Yes.
Ways that we can help them. I love I keep thinking of the parable of the talents as we're talking about.
I keep thinking about that too. Yeah.
I believe God does give us talents. This person Laszlo, he sounds like he didn't believe that anyone is given a free ride. I believe that everyone has at least a couple or maybe one. Some have none and they have to work hard at everything they do. And some have dozens and they don't put them to practice. They don't do anything with them. So I just think that, yeah, I think that God does it for us for our purpose, and find out what your talents are. And that kind of helps you decide what your mission and purpose is in life, I think. Abby.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
I definitely think a big part is the like your purpose or like what's my calling or you
Yeah.
know. But no, I was thinking I don't know if you've ever read the book Astronaut's Guide to Life on Earth. It's Chris Hadfield. He's like the famous astronaut. But he talks so much about his childhood and how he didn't even know how it was going to be possible because he wasn't even in the US, he was in Canada. He's from Canada, so he wanted to be an astronaut, but they didn't have a space program. I'm trying to remember this exactly, but it's been a while. But as a child, he knew like how he built himself like that identity of what would an astronaut do every day? And he like that was his mantra, like for himself as a child. Like an astronaut would eat their vegetables. An astronaut would work on these, be really good at math. An astronaut would, and like he just knew he wanted to be an astronaut, even though he had no idea how it was going to be possible for him. And it kind of makes me think of this book as like sometimes it's not the goal in mind, but like I'm an astronaut, that mentality, I'm whatever, and you build those habits and skills and even if it doesn't, you might not know how to get there exactly, but I think what I loved about that is he really, made this identity for himself even as a child. So
Good.
yeah.
Do that. Jeanette, I asked you earlier, thank you for sharing that, Abby. Jeanette, I asked you in the beginning if you wanted still a conversation about identity. And then I don't know if I got distracted. You said yes, you would like some clarity. Would you want a personal conversation or do you want to bring that up? What some of your questions are? And Antonio has something to say too. I might anyway.
Oh, well, I'd mentioned that it's been a while since I've read it, and so I can't really remember. That's something I can't remember much about it. But Antonio has his hand up, so to comment, I think, on what you said, and I wouldn't mind being able to make a comment after he has, just a thought that I've had about this. But yeah, we can talk about identity because is that because you think we've really covered a lot
The
of?
reason why I bring that up is Abby was just bringing that up, and then also it's the foundation for everything that James Clear is talking about. It's the foundation for every goal, because when we decide, like she was saying, you want to be an astronaut, what does an astronaut do? What are some of their habits? So creating that identity, who is the person? Describe the person that you want to be. Describe the identity that you want to have. And we have talked about, I'm a child of God, someone but we're all children of God. So that's definitely part of it. But maybe if that helps you to define what would a child of God act like or think like or be, that would help. But it's more like, I don't know, like if you want to be an author, what kind of practices does an author have in order to finish their book? That's what he's talking about is an image or your identity. That's very first step in all the things that we talk about. So we can talk about that more. But Antonio, sorry to put you off for just a minute. You can have your turn now. I just wanted to bring that up because it was on my mind because we were talking about that with Abby.
Thank you.
Oh, no worries. No worries at all. What I was just going to say is what I thought was really interesting talking about that subject is that recognizing those gifts. And one thing that we forget is the trials that we go through in our lives. We can look back and see different trials and struggles and things that we go through. And I don't think we always recognize how exactly those are teaching us, and those are enhancing skills that we already have, or like natural abilities. And so those will go ahead, and a lot of those challenges are helping us to get to a life's purpose, to do something that Heavenly Father really wants us to accomplish.
Yeah.
And I think being more open to what we're going through and asking what we can learn from it is really going to help us. I mean, and I think we can really apply this to anything. And I'm not going to elaborate on this, but I've also noticed it kind of like in dating as well, because you might, and then the only thing I'm going to say about this is that, okay, you go ahead and you go on the websites, you go to groups, you go on apps or whatever, and and it could be like, oh, well, I don't know, there's no one out there. I can't find anybody. I'm not, no one has the same mindset as I do, and or interests and so forth. And you can get this, and it's very easy to get, or there's no one in my area, there's no one local.
Limits.
Yeah, exactly. And so you can do that. And I've dealt with all of them in this short period of time. And what I've noticed in this short period of time, which was a miracle, was a blessing, I guess, is that I kind of started shifting that thinking, and also shifting the thinking of the limitations of, like, so if I find someone and we're chatting, I'm going to be more direct, and I'm going to go ahead and be more direct and say, okay, hey, let's do this. And I found that it was suggestions from my therapist, and I found just in one day in doing that, it made a considerable difference. Whereas there was one person that I was chatting with back and forth, I wasn't really sure where they were at. We were talking about a coaching. They're a coach, and I'm like, okay, are you putting me in the friend zone and just wanting me to be involved in your coaching, or are you actually interested in dating? And I didn't want to come out and say that, because I thought that was somewhat rude. And so I figured out with my therapist how to approach that differently. And it was just being more direct. And as the more direct questions I asked her, and she was like, oh, well, let's talk about that on the phone. And we talked on the phone the next day, and it ended up being, because everybody is so new to this. Well, a lot of people that are newly divorced are new to this long distance relationships, and they just don't even know how it's going to work. Yeah. And so they don't know the possibility of how it can work or any of that. And so she was just like, I don't know how this works. How do you make this work? And she's like, I got this commitment and this commitment. How does that work? And so we had a really good conversation, and we set up 2 dates.
That's good. It's a good way to
and
do it.
So, yeah. And so it's like, I think so that's that 2-part, one, you can't get into that pity party of the trials and challenges you're going through, no matter how big they are.
True.
And I think that's the biggest lesson of life that I've learned, and I've had a few.
Yeah. We all get into those ruts and trials, and yeah.
Yeah, we do. And so if we can continue to focus on learning from those and being open,
yes,
and then just to all of those experiences, whether it's been dating or business or book club or whatever it is, we're going to have much more success. And it's funny, serendipitous things happen, and it's amazing. I mean, I'm having some of those too. It's funny. So this one person that I have these dates set up, we have a date set for tomorrow. And so I just text her and say, hey, how you doing? Hope you're having a great day. And I put, hey, I'm cleaning the church this morning, and put a picture of me at the church, or the church with the vacuum, not eating a picture with me. I had no idea what she's doing today, right?
Mhm.
And then she's like, oh, I'm cleaning the temple today.
Oh, nice.
Mm.
Good. That's good, Antonio. Keep going. Except those 2 dates. Like Jeanette has another comment too. Thank you, Antonio. Did you have more to say before
Thank
we
you.
let Jeanette take the floor?
No, not at all. That's good.
You're on.
I was just, it was in relation to what Abby was saying, and then you as well, Sheri, about and you were talking about our identity. So as part of the Finding Strength in the Lord Emotional Resilience course this last week, I found something interesting. So this last week, we've been talking about our bodies are a gift from God. And so as you were talking about identity, I'm a child of God, it just brought this to mind. And one of the things that I wrote for my commitment is, it was along the lines of how our bodies are a gift from God to house our spirits. And so as a result, our body is a temple and we should be taking care of it.
Oh.
And so I started to think that, and along the lines of the habits, part of my identity is I am someone who takes care of my body. And so every morning I have in my scriptures, I've got a little post-it to ask myself, what will I do to take care of myself today? And I just wondered if that was, so that the things that you were saying reminded me of this.
Mhm.
And it's really interesting because I'm now finding, because I ask myself that question, so I had to go into town today and I thought, well, what can I do to take care of myself today? I'm going to walk instead of taking my car. And when it comes to eating, what will I do to take care of myself today? I'm going to eat something healthy because then I am, it changed my mindset. And I've always known that, my body is a gift from God, we sing about it in primary.
Yes, it's
But
true.
when I read it last week, it really resonated with me. Like these light bulb moments.
Mhm.
And right now, that is a shift that I've experienced. And so I'm realizing that this is part of my identity, that I'm someone who takes care of myself. So then every day I ask myself, what am I going to do to take care of myself today?
Love it. Exactly right. That's
So
exactly
it
what
really fits in with this,
Mhm.
what we're talking about now. Yeah.
You have it figured out. You're exactly right. That's what I would have talked to you about, is who is it that you want to become? So you're doing it. You already know.
Yep. The identity. It's the major, yeah. It's like
Done.
I tell myself I'm a health fanatic or I eat healthy. And it just helps you to make those choices
It's a really
better.
good one. It's a really, 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 really good one for me right now. Because I'm doing this detox diet right now. And so I'm not doing sugar or dairy or white flour, or like, I'm just like totally resetting and recharging my body. And it's really hard for me because I just love all my sweetness. But I'm gonna have fruit for my sweetness now. And that's a really good mentality to have, is the focus on I like being healthy. I like eating healthy. Anyway, I like fruit. I like vegetables. Yeah, good.
I think sometimes it's changing it to I'm choosing fruit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it does.
Because I like something, but it doesn't mean it's good for me.
True. It's so true. I've done this diet enough to know that it is habit. You get into the habit and it becomes so easy. It's hard at first. The very first part is really hard. But once you start eating the fruit and you add more you get more creative about what you can eat, it becomes heavenly. It really is a way that I want to adopt. Okay. So anything else? Imitating the powerful. That's another. We want to be acknowledged, recognized, and praised. that is something that he describes as being a natural instinct. Sometimes people, I think we grow up in a culture that teaches us that these things are selfish or they are prideful or these are not things we should be wanting. But it is natural tendency, and you can fine tune them if you want it to be more refined, where you don't feel like you have to be acknowledged and you have to be recognized and praised. But innately, it's a motivation for us to want to please others and to feel good about ourselves too. So that comes from those things. Anything else? Anything from the chapter summary that we haven't touched yet that you guys want to bring up? The culture we live in determines behaviors are attractive to us. We tend to adopt habits that are praised and approved by our culture because we have a strong desire to fit in and belong to the tribe. We tend to imitate the habits of 3 social groups: the close family and friends, the many, which is the tribe, and the powerful, those with status and prestige. And that's not as much. But I think that might be the fine-tuning thing I'm talking about. We might on purpose steer away from those things, some of those things. One of the most effective things you can do to build better habits is to join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior and you already have something in common with the group. That's why I love that. That's why I'm doing that detox group too. It's just an experiment, and it's a class assignment. So it's just 6 weeks. So that's what I'm finding. If you all have the same desire, it's helpful. Yep. The normal behavior of the tribe often overpowers the desired behavior of the individual. Most days we'd rather be wrong with the crowd than be right by ourselves. And then the last thought he says is, or in the summary is, if a behavior can get us approval, respect, and praise, we find it attractive. So that's another good key for encouraging our children, is to make sure that we give them the benefits, the rewards, like you're saying with your son, when he plays the piano, praising him about how good he's doing, and he'll want to keep doing it. That's awesome. Jeanette, did you have something?
Yeah, I had a thought. As you were reading, we tend to imitate the habits of the 3 social groups.
Yeah.
When you talked about and the powerful, as you said that, I thought of the Savior.
That's definitely the best one we could.
And so, as Christians, that's something that we can choose to focus on, because as the more we learn about the Savior, the more we learn about his habits. And for me, that's the person I want to become like. And so actually, this is really true if we use that in a spiritual context.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
good. Good. That we could put, you're right. Actually, when I say I don't necessarily love following the powerful, that might be why I have is she's not being powerful, but Christ is the most powerful, right? And he's definitely
absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. That's great discussion, you guys. Thank you.
I've really enjoyed this.
Your insight. Yeah,
I'm sorry I've missed so many.
We're always glad when you join, and anyone that joins, we just love it. I don't know what the reasons are people don't want to join. It's not, I don't ever take it personal, but if it is something I can adjust, I would like to know. I have a couple of different ideas. It might just be that they just want to watch the recording. It might just be that you are not reading the book anymore because you have other things to do. You're not interested anymore. That's fine too. But I always am curious what it is that that would keep people away. If we have 3 people, or we could have 22 people in here. It might be that I mentioned I kind of wonder if I put the boundaries on too much when I said we have 22 people in here, and maybe not everyone will join us, but I would love everyone to join us that wants to, for sure. Even if we had 30 people in here, it still would be fun. We just have to manage the comments, and that's fine too.
For me, I try
normal.
to. Oh, sorry, Abby.
Oh no, good. I think it's normal to. I've noticed with groups, like you have a large group of like maybe I'm in a group that's got probably like 60, I don't know, 50, maybe not up to 50, but I mean we don't usually have maybe more than 10 join,
It's true. So it might be the percentage. We have 20, 21 or 22 people in here, maybe 23 in the messenger chat. So that's probably about 10% percentage. That might be what it would be like normally. If we had 100 people in here, maybe we'd get 10. I don't know.
Maybe,
What are your thoughts that you were saying?
Yeah, so for me, and I understand why the time changed, but because it's at 4 o'clock and I serve in the temple every other week, and so sometimes that makes it more difficult. When it was 5 o'clock, I could almost guarantee that I would be out. And so that's why sometimes there's a problem, that's all. But I will always come in here as soon as I'm able to.
So 10 o'clock a.m. for us, I think, because it's 4
Yeah,
o'clock.
and that goes
That's
into your day then, doesn't it? That's you're almost halfway through the day at 10 by
No,
10.
you know, 10 o'clock might be better. Maybe people are sleeping in and wanting to sleep in. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they don't feel like, maybe they came on here and I didn't give them long enough chance to talk, or, you know, who knows. But if anyone who's listening to this has any feedback, let us know if there's any adjustments we can make. Otherwise, I love it when we have 1 or 10 or 20, all of us. I love this conversation. So, and I've even been okay coming here talking to myself, talking by myself to you, anyone who knows. So whatever, I just love it when you guys join me. It makes me feel loved, and it adds to the conversations for sure. You guys have much more to add than just what I have to say. So I appreciate you guys. Well, have a fabulous Saturday, great week, and we'll connect next week. Chapter 10 is how to find and fix the causes of your bad habits.
Oh, good one.
Yes. Open up our mind, right? Good. We'll have a good week, you guys.
Oh, thanks so much for this discussion. I've enjoyed being here with everybody.
Very good. Thank you.
Bye.